Teens, gays, and women are fleeing asylum centers in Germany to escape violence, intolerance, and crime perpetrated by, surprise, surprise, Muslim men. The Clinton family gets subpoenas, and experts are warning that another financial crisis is almost upon us and that it could destroy capitalism as we know it. My name is Howard Riell, and this is Riell Truth. You're listening to the American Freedom Network, streaming live around the world at AmericanNewsNet.com and on Facebook and YouTube and Tumblr and in the book, Riell Truth, Stay Angry. And of course, as always, broadcasting out across the Colorado Front Range on KHNC, Johnstown, Colorado, 1360 AM The Lion. Our call-in number is 877-254-7524. My friends, it's Thursday. A lot going on. Let's touch on some of it. Item from the Washington Post. Investigators with the State Department issued a subpoena to the Bill, Hillary, and Chelsea Clinton Foundation last fall, seeking documents about the charity's projects that may have required approval from the federal government during Hillary Clinton's term as Secretary of State, according to people familiar with the subpoena and written correspondence about it. The subpoena also asked for records related to Huma Abedin, a longtime Clinton aide, who for 6 months in 2012 was employed simultaneously by the State Department, the Foundation, Clinton's personal office, and a private consulting firm with ties to the Clintons. Unquote. My friends, all I can say is when it comes to her relationship with Hillary Clinton, Huma Abedin remains tight-lipped. Item from the Telegraph. The headline, "The world can't afford another financial crash. It could destroy capitalism as we know it." A new economic crisis would trigger a political backlash in Britain, Europe, and the United States, which could drag us all down into poverty. They bounce back after terrorist attacks, pick themselves up after earthquakes, and cope with pandemics such as Zika. They can even handle years of economic uncertainty, stagnant wages, and sky-high unemployment, but no developed nation today could possibly tolerate another wholesale banking crisis and proper blood-and-guts recession. We're too fragile, fiscally as well as psychologically. Our economies, cultures, and polities are all paying a heavy price for the Great Recession. Another collapse, especially were it to be accompanied by a fresh banking bailout by the taxpayer, would trigger a cataclysmic, uncontrollable backlash. The public, whose faith in elites and the private sector was rattled after 2007 to 2009, would simply not wear it. Its anger would be so explosive, so all-encompassing that it would threaten the very survival of free trade, of globalization, and of the market-based economy. There would be calls for wage and price controls, punitive ultra-progressive taxes, a war on the city, and arbitrary jail sentences. Unquote. My friends, the people who have been managing our government and the governments of nations in Europe are in lockstep with the people who've been managing the major banks. And they have taken us off a cliff once. I see no reason why they would not take us off a cliff again, because their interests and ours do not jive. Item from the New York Daily News. Police are investigating a second anti-white bias incident in Brooklyn, where the attacker called his victim, quote, cracker, the Daily News has learned. A 51-year-old white man told cops he was on Nostrand Avenue near Glenwood Road. By the way, my friends, I used to be on Nostrand Avenue all the time. That's right. We're not that far from where I grew up in Brooklyn. Nostrand Avenue near Glenwood Road, when a black man ran up and knocked him to the ground around 5:40 p.m. on Monday. Quote, "This is for Malcolm X, cracker," unquote, the brute said before storming off. Unquote. My friends, it's a hate crime. When blacks attack whites, it's no different than when whites attack blacks if it's for racial reasons. And the guy just said it. Guy said it himself. It was a racially motivated crime. Hate crimes are all the same. They are all to be wiped out. No room anymore in this world for racial hatred, and so I expect the authorities to crack down on this guy the way they would justifiably and correctly crack down on anyone of any race who attacked someone else of any race. Item from Bloomberg. In the Bloomberg Politics Purple Strategies Focus Group on Wednesday, South Carolina Republican voters praised Ted Cruz for being trustworthy and religious, while Donald Trump was described as, quote, brave but crass. Most of the participants who said they were either undecided or could change their minds before Election Day still said the New York billionaire had the best chance of winning their state's primary on February 20th. Unquote. My friends, those people need to wrench their brains around. With all the publicity that this election cycle has gotten, and as clearly defined as the candidates are, and as clearly defined as the issues are, for that many people to still be undecided is shocking to me. Also, Ted Cruz is trustworthy and religious. Well, the guy who comes to fix your car might be trustworthy and religious. He also might not know how to fix cars. And the other guy who comes may be brave but crass or not, he could be an expert mechanic. So you want the guy who's going to fix what's broken the best that anybody possibly can. And that's what voting has got to be based on. Item from Breitbart. Christians, homosexuals, and women are fleeing asylum centers in Germany in ever-growing numbers due to acts of violence, intolerance, and crime perpetrated by Muslim men. According to German newspaper Die Welt, the violence toward ethnic minorities, religious minorities, and women continues to skyrocket across German asylum centers. Muslim men tear up Bibles and assault Christians, sexually abuse women and children, and beat up homosexuals. The news has led to calls from human rights campaigners to say enough is enough. Unquote. My friends, at this point it's vital that we look at the differences between Muslims in Europe and Muslims in America. Let me lay them out for you. There are no differences. Muslims are Muslims. They all live according to the same book, the Quran. They all follow the same law, Sharia. They all worship the same God, Allah. So let me figure this out. What that means is that these groups of Muslims in Europe who are committing acts of violence and sexual oppression against Christians, homosexuals, women, and of course Jews, are just like the Muslims here, which means Muslims here could carry out acts of aggression, violence, sexual oppression against Christians, homosexuals, women, and Jews. Well, in that case, I don't feel any better. Do you? It's Thursday and it's Riell Truth. That should make you feel a little bit better. We'll be right back.
Howdy folks, have you ever thought about having your own backyard chickens? Now you have a source for certified organic, no GMO, no soy chicken feed. HappyHens.biz can even deliver, or you can pick up. Call me, Tim, at 303-829-5948, or go to happyhens.biz for pricing and ingredients. At happyhens.biz, we love happyhens.biz, or call us at 303-829-5948. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tom Phillips, founder of the Green Herb. How many times have you gone into a health food store and are confused as to the many different brands and prices on the same herbal supplements? You want to buy the cheapest, but you're afraid the quality is less, so you buy the most expensive. Truth is, the cheapest may be better. Green Herb herbal supplements are all manufactured in our Wheat Ridge, Colorado plant at 4565 Kipling Street, using the highest quality herb that we source from all over the world. Our 150 different herbal supplements are the most potent and safest in America. Our guarantee is your money back, no time limit, just return the bottle empty or full, no questions asked. So when you come to our new location, look for our new name, New Genesis Health, or call us at 888-765-HERB, that's 888-765-4372.
The Lord brings the counsel of the nations to nothing. He makes the plans of the people of no effect. The counsel of the Lord stands forever, the plans of his heart to all generations. Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, the people he has chosen as his own inheritance. Psalm 33, verses 10 through 12.
Welcome Welcome back. I'm still Howard Riell. This is still Riell Truth. My good friend, former guest here on Riell Truth, John Whitehead, the head of the Rutherford Institute, is about to talk to us about the right to tell the government to go to hell.
This is John W. Whitehead, author of Battlefield America, The War on the American People, bringing you a message about the state of our nation. What we're facing right now in this country is a crisis among the citizens on being able to think and speak. And the key thing about what the Founding Fathers gave us in America was the First Amendment. The First Amendment is there to guarantee the right of open public debate, disagreement. In fact, Louis Brandeis, one of the great outspoken Supreme Court judges, said the Founding Fathers weren't cowards. They weren't afraid of free speech. They were ready to stand in the gap. And if you didn't like what you hear, you didn't like it, but let's put it this way. As James Madison, who wrote the First Amendment, said, the First Amendment was written to protect the minority against the majority. What he meant by minority was that person that gets out there that no one seems to like. It's the minority, the 1% first person. And not violent, but out there on the street corner yelling and screaming about something no one wants to hear. That's what the First Amendment protects. So the key here is if it protects that person, it protects us as well. What I'm seeing happen in this country with political correctness, zero tolerance policies in schools, some of the crazy things we're seeing where people are afraid to speak, they're afraid to pronounce words. I was told by a recent group of kids in grade school that they had certain target words they could not say. They had to spell them out if they could spell them. I asked them what some of the words were. Believe it or not, one of the words was guns. They called it the G word. So I was wondering how, in that school, how you would teach civics, the Second Amendment, how you would tell a student over that the man we have over there, or the troops over in Afghanistan carrying those weapons, what are they carrying? Are they carrying guns or G's? I think it was George Orwell who predicted all this was coming, and he said it really clearly. What we really need is the right to speak out and tell people what they don't want to hear. We want to make people think, but unfortunately, it looks like we're moving to a non-thinking culture. What amazes me about our current state of affairs, being a free speech purist, is how we're categorizing speeches into certain categories, and they're words people are afraid to speak about, or they're reported if they say it, or they're extremists if they say it. Let me give you some examples. There's offensive, politically incorrect, or unsafe speech. College campuses have become the hotbeds of student-led censorship with trigger warnings, microaggressions, red light speech policies, targeting anyone who might cause someone to feel uncomfortable, unsafe, or offended. In fact, some schools are requiring students to report students who tell jokes that might offend someone. Then there's bullying, intimidating speech, warning that school bullies become tomorrow's hate crimes. The Justice Department has led the way in urging schools to curtail bullying, going so far as to classify teasing as a form of bullying, or rude and hurtful text messages as cyberbullying. Then there's hateful speech, hate speech, speech that attacks a person or group on the basis of attributes such as gender, ethnic origin, religion, race, disability, or sexual orientation, is the primary candidate for online censorship. In fact, some of the corporate intertech giants, which have such an important impact on influencing government and government policies, Google, Twitter, Facebook, are in the process of determining what kinds of speech will be permitted online, and they will be deleted. Then there's dangerous anti-government speech. The government right now is on a war against extremism. The Obama administration, in fact, is partnering with the technological industry to establish a task force to counter online propaganda by so-called extremists, etc. What we're going to develop, and I'm seeing it coming, is people who do not think anymore. It's what George Orwell in his book 1984 called newspeak. New words are made up. We hide from words. We're afraid to speak in open public forums where the First Amendment operates. Again, that's why the First Amendment is so important, why we have to keep it alive. But you know, I question lawyers. When I speak to lawyer groups and law students sometimes, they can't even tell me what's in the First Amendment. I have yet to find, in 30 years of questioning law students that come into my summer program to give me the 5 freedoms in the First Amendment, I've yet to find one who can. They're not teaching it in school anymore. one thing we have to be careful of, and this is really important, is how the First Amendment operates. It's like a steam valve. There are people out there who are angry. They're mad. They're tired of things. They want to let off steam. They want to do it in a public place. In my opinion, let them do it. What we found in former societies, and we're starting to see it in this country, if you bottle up free speech, you're going to create people who are ready to take action and get violent. And that's what's being forced right now in some situations. So how are we going to change this thing? How are we going to make sure? We're going to have to protect free speech. If we no longer have the right to tell a census worker to get off our property, if we no longer have the right to tell a police officer to get a warrant before they dare walk through our door, if we no longer have a right to stand in front of the Supreme Court wearing a protest sign, or approach an elected representative to share our views, if we no longer have the right to voice our opinions in public, no matter how hateful, prejudiced, intolerant, misguided, or politically incorrect they might be, then folks, we don't have free speech. So what does a government that oppresses free speech, whether it's in colleges, public schools we're seeing today, on street corners, you can't talk back to a police officer, what do they really want? They want docile sheep that'll march in lockstep with a police state. And the Founding Fathers said no to that. They said, folks, you have a right to tell the government to go to hell, and it's protected by our Constitution. For more information about the Rutherford Institute, visit us at www.rutherford.org.
Rutherford.org does some great work. Go to the website. Lots of good stuff there to read and to watch. Stay current with what they're doing, because it's important, not just for them and not just the people they're actually representing in court, but for you and me. Item from the Washington Post. They appear on the sand like any piece of sea detritus. Sometimes they're found amid the candy wrappers and cracked shells by volunteers cleaning up the area. Other times, a vacationer might glimpse the grisly discard from the corner of her eye. A serene walk along the beach interrupted just like that. As more people learned about these discoveries, they attracted morbid scavengers to the Pacific Northwest shorelines, where the Salish Sea connects waterways along the west coast of the United States and Canada. What these scavengers sought remains a prickling curiosity: severed feet attached to running shoes washing up from origins unknown. 16 of these detached human feet have been found since 2007 in British Columbia, Canada, and Washington State. Most of them have been right feet. All of them have worn running shoes or hiking boots, among them 3 New Balances, 2 Nikes, and an Ozark Trail. Unquote. My friends, I only have one word to say about who might be behind this: Islam. Item from the Blaze. A St. John's University student threatened to smash a fellow student's laptop because it displayed a Donald Trump campaign sticker, and now the victim apparently fears for her safety. The student who made the threat, Clifford Durand, 18, according to the New York Daily News, posted a photo of the student and her laptop affixed with a Trump Make America Great Again sticker during what appeared to be a class Wednesday morning. Stop! Who would get so violently opposed to a Donald Trump campaign sticker that he would threaten to smash it? Only a liberal. When you get right down to it, the real bullies, the real censors, the real tyrants, they're liberals, because they're doing what's right. And if they've got to silence you or kill you, they'll do it. That's why you got to watch out for liberals at all times. Item by Michelle Alexander, writing at The Nation. Black folks are sticking with the Clinton brand. What have the Clintons done to earn such devotion? Did they take extreme political risks to defend the rights of African Americans? Did they courageously stand up to right-wing demagoguery about black communities? Did they help usher in a new era of hope and prosperity for neighborhoods devastated by deindustrialization, globalization, and the disappearance of work? No. Quite the opposite. Hillary believes that she can win the game in 2016 because this time she's got us, the black vote, in her back pocket, her lucky card. She may be surprised to discover that the younger generation no longer wants to play her game. Or maybe not. Maybe we'll all continue to play along and pretend we don't know how it'll turn out in the end. Hopefully one day we'll muster the courage to join together in a revolutionary movement with people of all colors who believe that basic human rights and economic, racial, and gender justice are not unreasonable pie-in-the-sky goals. After decades of getting played, the sleeping giants just might wake up, stretch their limbs and tell both parties, game over, move aside, it's time to reshuffle this deck, unquote. To all my African American listeners out there in the radio and on the internet, you have been played for suckers by the Democratic Party for decades. Listen to the pundits. The Democrats always say, well, we got the black vote. Well, what they're saying is that all black people are the same. And that you're willing to be victims and suckers year after election cycle after election cycle. Well, the Democrats and Hillary Clinton specifically may believe that. I don't. I don't believe in painting anybody with a wide brush. Blacks are just like whites, just like Latinos, just like Asians. You think and you want what's best for you and your family. Good. Screw the Democratic Party, because what they want is bad for everybody of every race across America. They've done you no favors, they've done America no favors, and nor are they going to. But they are playing you for fools, so get smart. Get smart. Item from Breitbart. In the latest of a series of raids, German police have searched 2 homes in a rural village after a television channel interviewed a suspected Islamic State commander living there as a refugee. St. Johann is a small village in the southwest German state. Blah, 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 blah. Prosecutor's spokesman said the 2 men targeted by the operation are, quote, suspected of taking part in the Syrian civil war as members of a foreign terrorist organization. He said there were no immediate indications that a concrete attack was planned, but declined to give other details, unquote. So in other words, these Muslims living in Germany, they weren't armed. They didn't have plans to blow up a specific target or kill specific people, but they were going to in the future. Until then, they're law-abiding, moderate Muslims, right? They don't become murderers until they murder. Item from the Associated Press. A U.S. Army deserter who called Osama bin Laden a beautiful man, made pro-Islamic State statements and called for the death of American troops, has been arrested on weapons charges, federal prosecutors said. Daniel Seth Franey, 33, of Montesano, Washington, was banned from having guns because he was subject to a protection order taken out by his former partner in 2014. However, he nevertheless joined an undercover agent in making what he believed were black market gun deliveries, according to a criminal complaint unsealed in the U.S. District Court in Tacoma, unquote. In other words, there's another guy, a Muslim, who hasn't killed anybody, but he wants to, hasn't blown anything up, but he'd like to, can't be categorized as a terrorist because he's a moderate, law-abiding Muslim. So now tell me, do you want this guy living in your neighborhood, near your children? You get the point, right? Item from CWmemory.com. Headline: Civil War Museum under fire for displaying items from the Civil War. I quote, you heard that right. The National Civil War Museum in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania is taking heat from the mayor and others for a new exhibit on firearms sponsored by the National Rifle Association. While the source of the funding has come under scrutiny, the larger concern is that the display of weapons, including William Quantrill's Colt revolver, unquote. My friends, when people get up in arms because the Civil War Museum is showing items from the Civil War, I've got to wonder what the hell is coming around the bend next. This is political correctness run wild. Item from Time.com. A Chicago police officer who fatally shot a 19-year-old college student and accidentally killed his neighbor last year is suing the teenager's estate over extreme emotional trauma, unquote. I just got through saying that I have no idea what's coming around the bend because America's gotten so crazy, and here's Exhibit B. We're up in arms because Civil War museums are displaying Civil War artifacts, and the police officer who shot a 19-year-old college student dead and killed his neighbor now considers himself to be the victim. Oh, brother. We'll take a break. We'll be back.
Howdy, folks. Have you ever thought about having your own backyard chicken?
Now you have a source for certified organic, no GMO, no soy chicken feed. HappyHens.biz can even deliver, or you can pick up. Call me, Tim, at 303-829-5948, or go to happyhens.biz for pricing and ingredients. At happyhens.biz, we love happyhens.biz, or call us at 303-829-5948.
Great Plains Power has been providing reliable electrical power systems in the Rocky Mountain area since 1992. Our systems rely on the sun to help make you self-reliant for your power needs. Solar energy can be scaled to fit any situation, from complete power independence to backup power for the short term. Our expertise focuses on standalone power, but we have extensive experience with utility interactive systems as well. Custom-tailored capabilities as modest emergency lighting all the way to commercial-scale power. Great Plains Power is a full-service company. We service everything we sell. We provide and design turnkey packages, custom design system, and parts for do-it-yourself. With more than 20 years of specialized experience at your disposal, let us know what your power concerns or goals are. Reach us by phone or the internet. Call 303-239-9963. That's 303-239-9963. Or go to greatplainssolar.com. And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. John bore witness of him and cried out, saying, This was he of whom I said, He who comes after me is preferred before me, for he was before me. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 14 and 15. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just power from the consent of the governed. This is the America News Network. Since the uniform people really ask everyone to get involved in our community this holiday season, whether it's a toy for a needy child, care package for military members, or giving the gift of life by giving blood, you can make a difference and directly affect someone else's life. This message is from Census, the uniform people in Greeley. Call 352-2233. They're on the air because they care. Named one of the most admired outsourcing companies in America. Census.
Welcome back to Riell Truth. Howard Riell behind the microphone. My friends, you're probably getting tired of me calling Hillary Clinton a liar by now. So I figured I'd give some other people a chance to call Hillary Clinton a liar.
You're against same-sex marriage, now you're for it. You defended President Obama's immigration policies, now you say they're too harsh. You supported his trade deal dozens of times, you even called it the gold standard. Now suddenly last week, you're against it. Would you say anything to get elected?
Well, actually, I have been very consistent over the course of my entire life. I have always fought for the same values and principles.
Do you think New York State should recognize gay marriage?
No.
No. Okay.
I believe that marriage is not just a bond, but a sacred bond between a man and a woman. I have not supported same-sex marriage. I've supported civil partnerships and contractual relationships.
I support marriage for lesbian and gay couples. I support it personally and as a matter of policy and law.
So you're saying your opinion on gay marriage changed, or you changed your mind?
I have to say, I think you are very persistent, but you are playing with my words and playing with what is such an
I'm just trying to clarify so I can understand.
No, I don't think you are trying to clarify. I think you're trying to say that, I used to be opposed and now I'm in favor and I did it for political reasons, and that's just flat wrong. So let me just state what I feel like you are implying and repudiate it. I have a strong record. I have a great commitment to this issue, and I am proud of what I've done and the progress we're making.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I just want to clarify what I was saying. No,
I was saying that you maybe really believe this all along, but believed in gay marriage all along, but felt for political reasons America wasn't ready yet, and you couldn't say it. That's what I was thinking.
No, that is not true. It really is great how long you've supported gay marriage.
Yes.
I could have supported it sooner.
Well, you did it pretty soon.
Could have been sooner.
Fair point.
Just in July, New Hampshire, you told the crowd you, quote, take a backseat to no one when it comes to progressive values.
I take a backseat to no one when you look at my record and standing up and fighting for progressive values.
Last month in Ohio, you said you plead guilty to, quote, being kind of moderate and center. Do you change your political identity based on who you're talking to?
No, I think that, like most people that I know, I have a range of views, but they are rooted in my values and my experience.
I get accused of being kind of moderate and center. I plead guilty.
Just for the record, are you a progressive or are you a moderate?
I'm a progressive.
Oh, God.
Going through the emails, there were over 60,000 in total sent and received. About half were work-related and went to the State Department, and about half were personal, that were not in any way related to my work.
When you speak to the public, you say, I turned over everything. That's, for the most part, a direct quote. When you talk to the public, you say, I turned over everything.
90 to 95% of my work-related emails were in the state system. If they wanted to see them, they would certainly have been able to.
You know what? That is maybe the 10th time you have cited that figure today.
It is.
And I have not heard anyone other than you ever cite that figure. Who told you that 90 to 95% of your emails were in the State Department system? Who told you that?
We learned that from the State Department in their analysis of the emails that were already on the system.
The Inspector General report found that less than 1% of State Department emails, record emails, were captured. So they give a number of less than 1%, and you give a number of 90%.
I have absolute confidence that everything that could be in any way connected to work is now in the possession of the State Department.
This pile represents the emails that you sent or received about Libya in 2011, from February through December of 2011. This pile represents the emails you sent or received from early 2012 until the day of the attack. There are 795 emails in this pile. We've counted them. There are 67 emails in this pile in 2012. And I'm troubled by what I see here. I can only conclude by your own records that there was a lack of interest in Libya in 2012.
The server contains personal communications from my husband and me.
Only time I got on the internet, I did 2 emails, and I ordered Christmas presents from a reservation. Otherwise, I found people said embarrassing things on emails. I didn't want to be one of them.
How many angels dance on the head of a pin? I have really nothing to. How do you answer that?
I represented Wall Street as a senator from New York, and I went to Wall Street in December of 2007, before the big crash that we had, and I basically said, cut it out. Quit foreclosing on homes. Quit engaging in these kinds of speculative behaviors.
Now, who's exactly to blame for the housing crisis? I think there's plenty of blame to go around. Home buyers who paid extra fees to avoid documenting their income should have known they were getting in over their heads.
Of course we have to deal with the problem that the banks are still too big to fail. We can never let the American taxpayer and middle-class families ever have to bail out the kind of speculative behavior that we saw. But we also have to worry about some of the other players. AIG, a big insurance company, Lehman Brothers, an investment bank. There's this whole area called shadow banking.
All contributors to Hillary Clinton.
The next potential problem could come from. So I'm with both Senator Sanders and Governor O'Malley
Actually,
in putting a lot of attention onto the banks. And the plan that I have put forward would actually empower regulators to break up big banks. I represented New York, and I represented New York on 9/11. When we were attacked, where were we attacked? We were attacked in downtown Manhattan, where Wall Street is. I did spend a whole lot of time and effort helping them rebuild. That was good for New York, it was good for the economy, and it was a way to rebuke the terrorists who had attacked our country.
9/11 was bad.
I agree with that.
Time and time.
All right, folks, we're going to stop right there. I just want you to acknowledge that I went through the whole show today without saying that Hillary Clinton is a lying pig. I never said it. Item. From the economiccollapseblog.com, there is so much chaos going on, I don't even know where to start. For a very long time, I've been warning my readers that a major banking collapse was coming to Europe, and now it's finally unfolding. Let's start with Deutsche Bank. The stock of the most important bank in the strongest economy in Europe plunged another 8% on Monday, and it's now hovering just above the all-time record low that was set during the last financial crisis. Overall, the stock price is now down a staggering 36% since 2016 began, and Deutsche Bank credit default swaps are going parabolic. Of course, my readers were alerted to major problems at Deutsche Bank all the way back in September, and now the end game is playing out. In addition to Deutsche Bank, the list of other too-big-to-fail banks in Europe that appear to be in very serious trouble includes Commerzbank, Credit Suisse, HSBC, and BNP Paribas. Unquote. My friends, if you've got investments, if you've got money in the bank, check on them. Take a break. Riell Truth continues. Folks, we're all done. Please share this video. I'll be back on Monday. Hasta luego.